On April 17th, global oil markets got nervous, not because of something happening in the United States, but because of a narrow stretch of water thousands of miles away, the Strait of Hormuz, a route just about 20 miles wide at its narrowest point, yet it carries nearly 20% of the world's oil supply. And right now, it's at the center of rising tensions between Iran and the United States. According to Fox News live updates, U.S. naval activity in the region has increased in recent days. At the same time, Al Jazeera reports that Iran has accused the U.S. of making false claims during ongoing discussions. The BBC adds that there is still uncertainty over whether the strait is fully stable or only open under certain conditions, and reports from The Hindu and CGTN say Iran has warned it could close the strait again if what it calls a U.S. blockade continues. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has publicly suggested that the situation is under control, but Tehran strongly disagrees. So what's actually happening? Here are the facts. The strait is not closed, but it's not operating normally either. According to CNBC, oil tanker traffic has slowed down, not stopped. Some ships are delaying entry. Insurance costs for tankers have increased due to rising risk, and data from the New York Times shows congestion patterns and rerouting in the area. So yes, oil is still flowing, but under pressure. Now here's why this matters. Roughly 17 to 20 million barrels of oil pass through this route every single day. That's about 1/5 of global petroleum consumption. Major exporters like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and the UAE depend on this route, and global markets depend on that supply. Even a partial disruption here can send shockwaves across the world economy. We're already seeing early signs. CNBC reports increased volatility in oil prices, not because the strait is closed, but because traders are reacting to uncertainty. And that's how markets work. They move on fear before reality hits. Now let's talk about strategy. This situation is not random, it's calculated. Iran's position, based on multiple reports, is that U.S. naval presence looks like a blockade, and the threat to close the strait is being used as leverage. On the other side, the United States is focused on keeping the strait open and maintaining freedom of navigation. So what we're seeing is not chaos, it's a controlled standoff, a geopolitical chess match where oil is the most important piece. And this isn't happening in isolation. The region is already tense, with ongoing issues involving Israel and Lebanon, which means any escalation could spread quickly. Now here's the key question. Why should Americans care? Because oil is a global market. Even if the U.S. produces more energy, it doesn't operate in isolation. If supply through the Strait of Hormuz is disrupted, global oil prices rise. And when global oil prices rise, U.S. gas prices follow. That means higher costs at the pump, higher transportation costs, and more pressure on inflation. So even though this crisis is happening far away, its impact can hit much closer to home. So what happens next? There are three possible scenarios. Best case, tensions ease and the strait remains stable. Most likely, ongoing tension with continued volatility in oil markets. Worst case, Iran restricts or closes the strait, triggering a military response and a global energy shock. Right now, we are somewhere in the middle. Not at war, but definitely not at peace. A narrow waterway carrying nearly 20% of the world's oil. A silent standoff between Iran and the United States, and a situation where even uncertainty alone is enough to move global markets. Because if the Strait of Hormuz is disrupted, this won't stay overseas. It will hit every economy, including the United States. For more fact-based, no-hype global analysis, subscribe to Trendline America. Because in today's world, understanding geopolitics means staying ahead of it.